Told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire. Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben, here this morning with a very, very wonderful guest, Anthony St. Pierre. What a great name. That sounds like royalty almost, like St. Pierre. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good, Ben. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. The reason I wanted to have you on is we align very well on a lot of what we see issues here in America and really around the world. And I wanted you to actually come on and explain exactly who you are, how you originally came in and joined Turning Point USA, and what you guys actually do and what are your goals. So I'm just number one, who are you?
Yeah, so I'm the upstate field rep for Turning Point USA. I cover the college program. So I cover all the colleges that we have in Northern Connecticut, Western Massachusetts, Vermont, and upstate New York. So I believe we're just around 100 colleges in the territory that I cover. And the whole goal there is to get these chapters started that promote conservative ideals and really bring people together. So out here in the Northeast, I think it's very obvious that it's not a bastion of conservatism. So my whole goal here is to show these students and even the administrators on these campuses what we're bringing to the table, discussing the importance of free speech, our Constitution, free markets, limited government. We're too polarized today politically, where you feel like you're A or B. We need to remove that and find those commonalities. So my whole goal is bringing open-minded students together to have these conversations.
I love that. It's and I really agree with your view of, hey, we're all human. We all have wants and we all have what we really value. And I think a lot of the youth on the left share our views. It's just they have actually been taught to rely on emotion so much. And a lot of what I've heard is when you really, really talk with them, it isn't their real emotion. It's a shared emotion that they have to, I don't really believe it, but I think that changing a woman from a man and a man to a woman is real, and that we should help them do that. And But when you get them alone, and I've had this happen, where I've asked a few very basic questions, and then they go, yeah, but I don't want them to feel bad. And it's like, well, you aren't helping them when you're saying, yes, you are a woman when you're really a man. I've actually said on the show, when I was younger, I would walk around. I had a cape. I thought I was Superman. I'd hop from my couch over to the chair, but my mom never said, why don't you climb up to the roof and jump off, because you really are Superman and you'll fly. It's so what when you're at a college, how do you approach them, or do you let them approach you?
So in regard to the students or the administrators?
Yeah, well, everything.
All right, that works. I cover everything. So really, when we start at campuses that we don't have chapters at least for me as the upstate rep here, I want to work with the schools and be as diplomatic as possible, because unfortunately these campuses, they see us coming and they are looking for one little thing to permanently keep us off their campus and say, this is the exact reason we don't want Turning Point USA here. So when I go to the school, I put a face to the organization. I say, this is who I am. This is what I'm trying to bring to your campus. If I can't find your policies online for how to get a table and work with you, I'll come talk to you in person. I think we're at a place right now where we isolate ourselves from conversation, and we need to do that. So I like going face to face. If you told me this 2 years ago, I'd be this confident in myself. I don't know if I would have believed myself. But we need to talk, and I'll go to them, approach it, try to build the chapter that way. Or I just go and talk to students, just have a conversation, and find those leaders there, because, I can't tell you how many kids we've had over the last year and a half who go, I didn't even know you guys existed out here. Well, we do. And you have a place here if you want to start this group. So really just having the conversations. When we have tables on campus, I'm not trying to go for the most divisive topic in the world. We try to keep it where, hey, I'm going to set up a table. Come tell us why you love America. And then we can go from there. Or do you believe free speech is important? Because these are topics, again, like I was saying, where instead of feeling like you're A or B, you could vote Democrat, but still come over to our table and be like, oh, wait, actually, I agree with you on these things. A great example is Worcester State University in Massachusetts. We had a student come up who was a registered Democrat and say, well, I don't think I belong here because this is how I vote. And to me, I stopped him. I said, well, why do you feel that you can't be a part of this? And he's like, well, the way I vote. I said, all right, well, do you support free speech? Yes. Limited government? Yes. Which nowadays, when someone on that side says limited government, they agree with, it makes me laugh, but that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Free markets, stuff like that, they agreed. And I asked him, I said, then why don't you think you belong here? I think that's a problem we have in New England now is, it's so one-sided that these kids growing up, they just assume that, well, I'm liberal. So, this is how I grew up. My parents say I'm liberal, or the schools say I'm liberal. That's something we need to change and find those commonalities. So that's the type of tabling I do there just to start these chapters off. And when we get a real, foothold and have successful events repetitively, I tell them, I'm like, all right, well, now what do you want to cover? Do you want to hit illegal immigration? Do you want to hit these topics that would be something you don't want to start off with? Get those open-minded students coming, flow of conversation, because we don't have that today. But that's how we do it. And then from there, they run their meetings. If they want speakers, we'll bring them in. But it's really building positive relationships on the campus to get a good group going.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important that you guys are there, and once they see you there a few times and they're like, oh, okay, well, let me go see what they're saying, or let me read a flyer they hand out, or because I think, unfortunately, and we have, I'm going to try and do this and not cry. I think what happened with Charlie was, I think it opened up a lot of the youth's eyes on, wait a second, he didn't hurt anybody. He was genuinely a very open and very good person, and he really just wanted to talk to people. That was it. And I think a lot of the youth on the left, they saw that, because the reaction online, you saw very few younger people who were less than very nice after the event. And I think the young, because really, I truly see a lot of love in their heart. And I think that's what they lead with, is love. It's just, we recognize it as, that's not really love. That's more sympathy than love. Because when you love someone, you want what is healthy for them. And I think the youth, after what happened, I think they saw that and they're like, no, this is not how this should be. And I'm old. I'm old. So when I was young, I remember Martin Luther King and what had happened with him. That was a shift. That was like people going, whoa, wait a second. This was not a bad guy. This was a good guy. Why? And I think, unfortunately, we had to lose Charlie to really open up a lot of people's eyes on the real agenda. And I honestly think God put him here so he could lead this. And then he took him to really shift the whole world, because it did. It shifted the whole world. And I'm not saying Charlie was Jesus, but what I am saying is that event shook the earth. And I think for many, many years, we're going to look back at him and we're really going to say this was the absolute turning point of humanity. So sorry, I get yeah.
No, you're completely fine. Like it's an emotional topic. Like this is something where we need to end this idolization that political violence is okay. We're starting to turn into the Wild West here, where if you say something that someone doesn't agree with, they feel that they can kill you. It's wrong. And, that did open up a lot of kids' eyes after that day, regardless of how you were ideologically. And I think the statistics prove it too. I think, a month after the assassination, we have over 120,000 students who've requested to get involved with Turning Point. This was the this was pivotal here, where students who were nervous of stepping out and being the leader of these new groups or wanting to be involved, they saw this and they're like, enough's enough. I'm going to get this started. You're not going to hide my view. And, you know, I've had a lot of coworkers and even students I'm close with saying, someone died today because they had the same beliefs as me. And that scares them. But at least all my chapter leaders out here have been motivated since. And they're like, we're not stopping. We're going to keep going. I had groups that wanted to do 2 to 3 events a month. And they now are like, we're doing 2 or 3 a week. We're not going to stop. We're going to push through. We're going to get recognized on campus and our voice will be heard. In the Northeast out here, a lot of people look at it as it's a losing battle. We're not going to win. No. It's an uphill battle. And I think right now we have so much momentum and the students coming up and even our communities supporting these groups that we can see real change in the next 5 years. But it's something where we can't stop. The mission needs to keep going. And I don't see any sort of slowdown from these kids out here. But it is the history books will note what happened in September and the uprising that came from it. And here's the difference. And this is my personal view. After Charlie was assassinated, was any city burned down? Were there any riots that happened? No. What happened is people came together and prayed. We're seeing revival in this country. And
Amen.
I'm very grateful to have been at the memorial that was held in Arizona. A beautiful event. And, you know, sometimes when you go to these rallies where there's a lot of politicians talking, you think it's going to turn into, okay, the administration is going to just talk about themselves. It wasn't that at all. I think that's the first event in my lifetime, at least, where I've seen almost an entire cabinet discuss their faith. And, you know, I think Charlie wants to see more people embracing that. He was a disciple. You know, what his mission was he growing with God and bringing that faith to everyone he saw. And I very grateful to have gotten the chance to meet him and see him in action. The guy's one of one. But, you know, what he did here will not disappear. I said it, you know, the day of, I said, this is insanity. They took one Charlie Kirk and they just created a million more. So this is just the beginning.
Yeah, I think you all are so important because what our youth are looking for is they're looking for something they can really grab a hold of and really have, oh, I'm important. I'm actually part of a very good group who's actually trying to help people. And there is nothing more energetic than a youth who has real purpose, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something that they can really get involved in and really help other people. And I think what we're going to see is especially with young men, because young men, this is going to sound bad, but it's true. Young men are warriors, and they want something that they can hold up and say, this is what I'm going to war for. And as more and more young people join your movement, I think you're going to see an amazing amount of growth in your movement, because the youth has and was lost. They didn't know where they really belonged. And I think you guys actually give them an environment where they feel that they can really, really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something with my work as a rep out here. The leaders I put in charge of these chapters, I tell them, I will give you everything I have. And, you know, this is something I truly believe in. This mission is something I dedicate my life to, you know, in order to continue to be successful. But for my kids, I'm like, I'm putting you in these positions because I trust you and will give you everything that I have. It's indicative now that you get these results on campus, that you can be that voice. Don't just try to be name only Turning Point on a campus, because we're not going to go anywhere. We're here to effectuate change. And, you know, colleges nowadays are not what they were originally intended for. Originally, it was, well, this is a public forum where differing ideas can come. You meet in the Coliseum and have the conversation. We don't have that today, where it's all one-sided, and you know, these new groups who are starting are getting death threats. How is that okay on a college campus? That's something where
Yeah.
we should be discussing that openly and finding that common ground, but we're not. And these leaders are the ones who are stepping up right now. So I want to see just the continued growth, that then it's not just 1 year and they're gone, but we build longevity with those groups for long-term success.
Absolutely. I think you all are so important because it's reached a point where our universities are no longer a social plus. They're actually a negative on the society as a whole, because when once again, when I was young, I only went to college for a month, because I went there and as they explained it, what you're going to be doing, none of it made any sense. I'm like, well, hang on a second. Why do I have to have this class that has nothing to do with what, and even when God, this was back in like 1992, even back then it's like, well, you need these social classes, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense, you know. And I think especially nowadays you have so many required classes that are just brainwashing. That's it. It's, we're going to teach you how you should be liberal in your life. And it isn't an education, and we've all heard this. It's the indoctrination of our youth into this communistic, socialistic environment that is really, and I'm just going, it's anti-human. It's an anti-human movement. And I absolutely 100% believe this is evil, and this originates at an evil or from an evil agenda led at a high level from world elites.
Yeah, and you know, to touch on that, in my personal view, not one of Turning Point here, but I do believe public education has turned into something where it's 18 years of controlled thought, and this is how you are going to see the world and experience it. Especially out here in New England, I think there's a certain standard that they try to focus on to distill that information in children. And then if after those 18 years you want to go to college, well, here's another, 4 to 6, depending if you're getting a graduate degree, with a predominantly liberal group. So there's a really good book that I read. Pete Hegseth wrote this before he left Fox. It was Battle for the American Mind. 100% recommend your viewers, if you haven't read it, read it. It discusses the public education system from its inception up. But yeah, I think it's sad if that was the intention, to create this, one-sided institution that takes your kids and controls how they view the world and how they think and they change their beliefs. I think that's wrong. But again, for us at Turning Point USA, at least for me as a rep, if the schools, the colleges themselves aren't willing to, facilitate this open dialogue and be what we were talking about before, that original intent of open forum, will be the group that creates the open forum. And I've seen a lot of success with that at, schools throughout New England.
Yeah, I think, excuse me. I think we're going to see the rise of alternative universities, because I don't think the universities are going to go down without an absolute they're going to go down with the education ship because they've had this prestige for so long that I think what you all are actually doing is amazing, and I think you'll have huge success with the youth. I just don't know if the leadership of the universities are gonna change the how they run it, which means it's a great opportunity for other universities or colleges to actually be launched, because the youth will look for what they agree with. And I think especially like Harvard and Princeton, they don't have the educational clout they used to, because they've lowered, hey, we aren't going to look at any of your tests. We're if you are not white, we'll accept you. And I think they've lowered themselves at a point where if you graduate from Harvard or Yale or wherever, you aren't as educationally elite as they used to be, because they're no longer worried about education more than they are social engineering. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I would say you're kind of seeing the impact of that right now, and Charlie would talk about it too, even the books he wrote and on the podcast. Look at where a college degree gets you nowadays. It really doesn't get you much compared to if you do a trade job or, it's always fun being on campus with students being like, well, Charlie says it's a scam. What did you think? I'm like, well, I guess I fell for the scam because I got a graduate and an undergraduate degree. There are certain degrees and professions that, you do need the educational component. But that social aspect, I think, is somewhat forced, in my opinion. For me, when I went to college, I could have been done in 2 years with an undergrad degree, but they basically give you 2 years more of just classes you don't need. And it's like, that's not what I'm paying to be here for. When you're paying to go to one of these institutions, in my view, it's something where, okay, you're a prestigious school. I need to be getting that education, not feel as if though my view or my worldview is being manipulated to conform to you. That is not what this country is based on. This country is based on individual freedoms. And we don't need to agree on everything. But if these institutions want to create that sort of one-minded or one-sided mindset, well, that's an issue. And I don't think that's celebrating democracy. I think that's eroding it. But again, that's my personal view on it. And that's our chapters are looking to show that it's okay to have conservative values, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah, and it what amazes me is New England used to actually be such, because let's be honest, who originally was there? It was the Puritans. You know, I mean, it's like, how the hell do you get from the Puritans to where you're at now? Because I mean, because I love history, and I'm a huge. I watch the most unentertaining educational documentaries of any person you've ever met. It because we went from such a place of honor and work hard and help your town, help your community, help your county. We've shifted from of raising our children to serve other people to a it's all about me society. And that's completely toxic. You know, if you live your life only worried about yourself, you're going to have a very shallow and very lonely life. And all right, I'll rant for hours. Next question is where do you see you guys and America in 4 or 5 years? Do you see it actually getting better, or do you think we got a few years of hold on, folks, it's going to get wild?
All right. Well, that is a big question. Well, for Turning Point USA, I think we're only going up from here. You're going to see the impact. You're already seeing it. Even these tours now that Charlie had on schedule, that these other contributors are stepping up. They're overfilling these auditoriums, these theaters, for these speakers. Yeah, it's amazing. We want to see those out here because we would fill venues in New England like big. But it's not stopping. These kids are more motivated than ever. They want to keep going. So I think in the next 4 to 5 years, Turning Point is going to just keep excelling. And I think that also is something that our mindset as reps out here is the job's not done. The mission is to save this country and to win the battle every day. I'm not here to lose. I'm here to win. And
I love that attitude.
Yeah, that's the mindset my kids are going to have, especially out here. Again, you can't have that losing mindset because then nothing's going to get done. I think more people need to, tie up the bootstraps and get to work. You make a great point here, how people just feel like, well, selfish. That there's no, it's such false entitlement. And I hate that we're at that point in this country, because how are you going to get those next leaders? Well, with Turning Point USA, we're showing that meritocracy matters and you need to work for everything you got. And, I think organizationally, we're going to keep growing. The goal is to have chapters at every college campus. We have a high school counterpart. They're crushing it right now. But yeah, we're Turning Point USA. If it isn't already a household name, will be.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. I think you guys have really, exactly like you said, you guys are going to grow, because I think wherever you're at, and this is going to sound weird, but wherever you're at, you guys hand out red, white, and blue pills. It's, hey, we're all Americans. What can we help to improve America? Because we have a lot of the exact shared views of a lot of, shall we call them, left, people. We have shared views. I think they just don't realize that you can't have a great country if you don't have really good people.
Yeah.
And I think good originates at God. So I think that we need to show people teachings of Jesus and just I've always said this, don't judge Christianity on me. All right. Judge it on Jesus, because all of us are flawed. And I think once we show them the actual teachings of Christ and say, look at the things written in red. That's what we have, an outline for a good life. We just need to try and apply it. And that's the hard part.
Right. Right. And, I wouldn't be in the position I am today without God. And, I thank my wife for that big time, because she's the one who got me back into my faith full tilt. The only reason I have this job is through faith and, God leading me here. But I think if you ever meet someone who says, I'm the perfect person, I'm going to question that. Look, we're all sinners. We got to be better each and every day, but that's where we have that guidance to, if you need to fall back, you fall back into the hands of God, and you learn and grow from that. So I love how you said it. Don't judge me on being the perfect Christian. Like, Jesus did it. Read the red. Like, that is awesome. And with a lot of my chapters out here, some aren't fully embraced in their faith, and that's completely fine. But my groups who do want to focus on a religious aspect, we do that. And I could tell you right now, some of the experiences that we've had on campus, it's beautiful. UMass Amherst, a great example here. We did prayer tables. So, even for me, I'm still growing in my faith, but I don't it's hard for me to do open prayer with people I don't know. So we did something where it's just, hey, we're doing a prayer table. We have a pad of paper. You don't even have to write your name down. Just write what you want us to pray. We put it in a bin. And at the end of the event, we split it up among the chapter members. And we're like, at some point today, read whatever John or Jane wrote on the piece of paper and just pray for that person. Because you know what? God saw them do it. So he's not going to be like, who wrote this one?
Yeah.
But the amount of students at a school where I think you're seeing somewhat of a revival, but it's a very tough area for that. The amount of people who came up with relief to see that we were doing something like that. And, there was a study at the beginning of the year. I think Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York were three of the worst states when it came to, faith. Like, we're losing faith out here. And I think that's why we're seeing kind of the morale the way it is. So, if we can help facilitate that growth and revival, it's promising. So I'm glad you brought up the faith aspect.
No problem. All right. We have a question here, and I think it's a very good actual question. Do you have security? Do you feel safe on campus?
So me personally, I do not. I would flex on the camera, but the screen's not big enough. I got to say, these two weapons right here. No, we're always working. So, with me personally, I don't have any security, which is fine. I put on full armor of God every day. I pray. I know that if I'm going to a campus, if I feel good going on campus, then we're going to be okay. If I ever have doubts, then we approach it differently. Safety wise on campus, I will say before the assassination, there was an experience or two where students are starting out here get a little more aggressive with what they're saying to us, which I was surprised. But otherwise, like, when I'm on a campus, if you want to come have a conversation, come talk to us, but it has to be civil. And you made a really good point earlier. this emotion-based reasoning. Well, I don't call it, when I'm debating someone, I don't call it an argument. I don't argue points, because that, kind of shows emotion. You're kind of putting it in place. With me, if you're getting emotional on a topic we have, you're seeing red. We're not going to find common ground. So I try to ease it off there. Safety wise, though, I will always ensure that my kids are safe when they are at the table with me. I won't let anything happen to them. I'll be their security. Okay. I don't need the security. I'll be there. But that's something really, safety is a big thing right now. We work with the schools. The schools have been pretty accommodating with providing some campus officers, resource officers around us when we're out. But, overall, we're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. Unfortunately, the people who did this, want to see Turning Point cease to exist, and that's not going to happen. So we're going to keep going.
I love that. All right. We are going to wrap this up, but you and I have an event in a few weeks at our club up in Massachusetts. I'll be there. You'll be there. I hope everyone watching will actually show up, because we really need to unite and lead with love. It's very important that we, and God, I hate to say this, but we take the opportunity that we have been presented with what happened with Charlie, and we use the energy from that and we push it out there, and we lead with love, and we say, look, as an example of what happened, we need to change how we look at each other. Someone on the left, an average kid at college, is not our enemy. They're our friend. We just haven't met yet. And I think a lot of the youth, when they approach you, there's a reason they're approaching you. The majority of them isn't, I'm going to yell at this guy. It's, they're approaching you because something in their head is like, let me just see what they say. Let me see what they're explaining. Let me hear because what I really saw when Charlie was out there, everyone looked at who he was actually talking to. What I found amazing was how many people showed up just to listen. And that shows you the movement. Unless you had an agenda of showing up and I'm going to talk to Charlie, everyone else showed up just to listen. And that's that curiosity of, what is this? Who is he? What is their organization? And I think a lot of people show up to listen because they don't want to argue. They just want more information. And I think you guys actually provide the perfect outlet for the youth to hear the other side. And I think when they shot Charlie, I think that what that actually did was that unleashed the curiosity of the youth in a way that they did not anticipate. They assumed, or he assumed, not saying there's a conspiracy here, but we'll wait and see. He assumed if I if I shoot him and get rid of his voice, more people will agree that we actually did the right thing when we got rid of his voice. What they didn't anticipate was the number of views, and I've looked at this. After he was shot, the number of views of his old content shot up. It was amazing because everyone's like, wait, if you hadn't heard of him and then all of a sudden he's shot, you're like, well, what was this guy saying? Holy cow, this guy must have been Hitler. Then they went back and they're like, he was a very good guy. He didn't hate anybody. And I think that is what the youth saw. And now there's a reaction against the left from the youth who are like, no, if this is what you guys really believe in, we do not want anything to do with you, because everyone values freedom. It's just some people only value their own freedom.
Yeah.
And Charlie was not that. He was, let's have a conversation. You have your views. I have my views. Let's talk it out. And that is so important. And so, like I said, because I'm horrible about just like going on and going on. I cannot wait to shake your hand, because I think when I shake your hand, I will be shaking the hand of someone who changed America. Which leads to changing the world. So I really look forward to this.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity and, the kind words there. I'm going to be riding high the rest of the day.
Good.
Often, yes. So, no, I appreciate it. And that's something, this event, let's make it huge. I want there to be a line outside the venue here. The last one we held was insanity. In a good way, of course, in a good way. The amount of people we had in the venue and the amount of people live streaming it. When I heard those numbers after, wow. This should be a forum, though, where we come together. I kind of want to not challenge people, but say, find other family members or friends that you're close with who might not agree. Bring them and let them see what we're about and what we're building. Unfortunately, at the last event, Indivisible, I don't know if the group, decided we're gonna send protesters because they're homophobes and racists and a hate group. 7 people stood outside, with signs and flags. It's like, I was talking with one of the people who came in and I said, why don't we ask them to come? I said, I will clear 7 chairs in the front row. And, if they're going to be civil, I'm not going to sit here and try to target them, but you don't even know what you're saying about us. And, that is why we have this divide today, which makes people feel justified to call us those names and say these negative things. So I really want to see more from differing views come to this event in a couple of weeks, because we can make a bigger impact by doing it that way.
Yeah, I have a secret plan that is not really secret. If they show up again, I'm actually going to send them pizza.
There you go.
Because it's hey, we're not your enemy. You're not our enemy. Here is some pizza, and if you guys want, why don't you come in and have water or soda or something? Just come in and talk to us. And because how I view it is Jesus didn't talk with the royals, the kings. Jesus went out and actually talked with people who completely disagreed with him originally. And how a lot of it's, hey, let's have a little food. Let's just sit and talk. That's what Jesus did. He walked around and talked to people. And if they show up and they actually protest, I'm actually just going to send them pizza and go, hey, you guys are welcome in here, and you're welcome in with no judgment on who you are as an actual person. And and I hope they actually come in, because I think as soon as they walk in, because I hug everybody. Walk in, hug you. Hey, how are you, brother? Or how are you, sister? Come on in. Would you like something to drink? It's this is how we change people's hearts, is we show them our hearts.
Yeah.
And I hope we have a lot of protesters, because I have no problem sending them a lot of pizza.
Yeah. That's you're showing a lot of grace there. It's love your neighbor.
That's the only way that humans grow. You have to love the person that you should hate, because hate only leads to more hate. Someone has to reach out to the other side and say, I'm not your enemy.
Yeah.
Because that's, in order to heal, we have to look at the wound and then work together in order to heal each other. Because I am a flawed human. I am absolutely flawed. And so are they. Let's heal each other.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. This is going to be a good event. I can tell just from this conversation here, the one in a couple of weeks is going to be phenomenal.
Yes, I hope everyone watching this plans a trip, because it's you're gonna want to be there, because watching it online is neat, but living it, actually shaking my hand, shaking your hand, hearing everyone hug and talk and testify is really what changes everything. And I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm ready.
All right, Anthony, you have a very busy day. I know I have a very busy day. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you in a few weeks, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.